Hello, and welcome to another edition of Wellness Wednesday 3 Questions. This is my very short show where I ask my special guests 3 questions about mental health treatment, mental illness. And the whole purpose of the show is to eliminate stigma with mental illness treatment, anything mental health related. So today I have my special guest here, and I'm so very happy that he is joining us today. And I'll get, start asking the questions, but what I would like to say before is if anyone would like to be a guest on Wellness Wednesday's 3 Questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me via the website, www.ptaylorconsulting.com, or you can also give us a phone call, and the phone number is 262-207-4130. Okay, so without further ado, I'll go ahead and ask my special guest his first question, and that is simply, can you introduce yourself, please?
Indeed. Thank you. My name is Lambers Fisher. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, author, and national speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. I've been a therapist for approximately 20 years now, with an emphasis on married couples and other couples, premarital couples, as intimate relationships, keeping, strengthening couple relationships together, and helping people overcome barriers to having the lasting family and intimate relationships that they would like to have for a lifetime.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for that. I want to ask a follow-up question, but we'll wait until the third question to ask that. You mentioned your book, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Second question, why is mental health important to you?
Well, it's important to me personally and professionally. Personally, it's been important to me because I have seen relationships not last in my relationship since I was a kid. And I wanted to have a lasting relationship myself. And I kept looking around for examples to follow and didn't find nearly as many as I would like. And then I discovered that there's this field of psychology, specifically marriage and family therapy, that could teach me how to do so. It's like, wait a minute, you could teach me how to have this relationship that I've been wanting to have once I get the opportunity to have a relationship, and all I have to do to do this field is to teach others how to do so as well. Sign me up. And I've been intrigued ever since, because it wasn't as deep and mystical as I thought it was. It was just practical tips and strategies to help people learn how to relate better in their homes, in their communities, individually, just with themselves, in ways that makes life better, less stressful, overwhelming. And the more I've been able to do that myself, the more I've been able to help other people do it, the better life seems. And to be able to share that with other people and to help them have less stressed lives, more happy and better related lives, has just been the most fulfilling thing in the world. And so professionally, being able to put that into practice in large and small ways, and individual and broader family and organizational ways, has just been great, because the benefits just keep on giving.
That's beautiful. I like that you said that it's important to you because you didn't see healthy relationships. And so mental health oftentimes, or mental illness or mental stressors oftentimes, are barriers to building relationships. So you kind of wanted to get to the bottom of that. And then you, like you said, you also do it in your practice so that others can, have and sustain and maintain healthy relationships. So mental health is important to you for healthy relationships, huh?
Indeed, indeed. And when I
Beautiful.
realized that it wasn't just something about something being wrong, fixed, but to help things get better, then I could realize that you don't have to wait until something bad happens, something catastrophic happens, or something that you
Yes.
don't want to talk about happens. You can just say, how can I enhance my life? My life's okay. My life is doing all right. But how can I make it even better? Oh, there's somebody who can help me learn how to do that in a personalized way. And so that's
Mhm.
expanded my view of mental health as a whole as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Overall wellness. Love it.
Exactly.
Okay, so last question. Again, the show is all about eliminating stigma, and in my practice, in my personal life, with my family and friends, a lot of them are hesitant to seek out counseling, seek out therapy, because they don't know what the process is. They've heard different things that sound scary and fearful to them. They feel like they'll need to be vulnerable going in, and um, so that's created a stigma, and so it's prevented a lot of people from talking. It's prevented a lot of people from seeking mental health counseling. And so I would like to ask you, as a practicing therapist in the profession, can you kind of sort of walk me through what an intake session is? what the first session is, just to kind of eliminate some of those fears or stigmas.
Yes, it can be very difficult to even just break the ice and start things off to come in the first place. And so, when I have a first
Mhm.
session, I just like to acknowledge that. I like to thank people for coming in because it can be scary to risk getting help from someone else. To acknowledge, hey, I tried all I can on my own. Now, can I get another perspective to help me get over that hump? And so, I thank people for coming in. And the first few minutes are admittedly logistics. There's some paperwork just to get some contact
Mhm.
information, the insurance things, and I try not to spend the whole time focused on that because that's not why people came in. But you got to get those things
Mhm.
out the way. And then I like to spend
Yes.
the majority of the session just trying to figure out what brought them in. Like I said, to a certain degree, people manage their lives on their own quite well. But then at some point, it becomes a little bit too manageable. At some point, people get stuck. And so I like to start there and say, hey, what's gotten you stuck? Help me to understand what's happening right now. What are you hoping will happen in the future that you're not quite sure if you know how to get there? And then
Mhm.
help me understand what things happened in the past to help you get to where you are. Just kind of like a global
Mm.
perspective that gets to know you and allows the person who's coming in the opportunity to lay things out and say, this is why I'm here. It's a
Yeah.
lot different than somebody coming in expecting to be tested, analyzed. Here,
Mm.
tell me 5 minutes and I will tell you your deep, darkest secrets, or you have to come in and start crying in the first 5 minutes. It's not like
Yes.
that. As much
Yes.
as you come in, help me understand where you are, and maybe I can offer up a different perspective. Not because I know everything or think I know you better than you, but
Mhm.
sometimes just an outside perspective, somebody who doesn't have a stake in the game, who doesn't have to live your life, can help you see things about yourself that you ultimately shared, but you didn't see it in the same way. And so if I can
Mm.
mirror that back to you and say, hey, that's great, you're doing great, and this, that, and the other, but there's a few things you hadn't considered, offer them to you as a gift. And then you go and do with it what you will. And so that way I can
Mm.
be a resource, I can be an asset. Not someone going to tell you how to live your life, how to do it better, but how to enhance what you're already doing. And I leave you to go and live your life with a few more extra skills, a few more extra insights that can
Mm.
help you in your family, in your workplace, in the community, and beyond. So that first session is kind of a first impression. And then hopefully it
Mhm.
gives you enough encouragement, enough hope to say, hey, I want to go back there because that helped me. I take that, do a few things, and now can I come back and get some more encouragement, some more tips, maybe even more deeper, maybe even more further in the
Mm.
past, maybe some more difficult things, but at your pace, not too fast,
Okay.
not too far. And if you want to stay surface, that's fine. If the surface has benefited you and you want to go deeper, that's fine too, but at your pace, at your level, and it starts and ends when you're ready.
Mm. Mm. Thank you so much for that. What I'm hearing is it's not. So it's that, thank you, because I think by you saying that, that eliminates a lot of fears, a lot of apprehensions about the first session. And what I'm hearing you say is it's not cookie cutter. It's centered to your client. It's centered to the person who's coming in. And
Indeed.
so that's really important because people need to know that they can come in and show up how they are, you know.
Exactly.
So thank you so much for that insight. Thank you very much. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. It's usually, well, it's Wednesday, 3 questions, but I want to ask you one more question. Can you talk to me a little bit about your book? You mentioned you're an author. Can you talk to me about your book?
Indeed, indeed. Like I said, I've been a therapist for about 20 years. For the past 10 of those years, I have also had the chance to be a speaker on the topic of multicultural awareness and diversity. And I'll admit, I've never considered myself a diversity, equity, inclusion specialist and HR and things like that. But I started to notice trends with my fellow therapists who were doing really good work, genuinely caring about everyone they serve, but also cautious that they weren't comfortable meeting with the greatest variety of culturally diverse clients that they could,
Mm,
not because of
okay.
any negative views, but because they didn't want to mess up anything. They didn't want to step on any toes. They didn't feel like they knew enough to help. And so I made a training that started off as a 1 hour training, 2 hour training, and ultimately a full day training, and then the book to provide practical tips and strategies for initially my mental health professionals, but ultimately
Mhm,
helping professionals everywhere how to break those barriers, how to help strengthen relationships cross culturally in the most
mm,
practical way, not memorize these 5 steps, not memorize the history of these 5 groups, but how to interact with people no matter what cultural group you're coming from, not even just race and ethnicity, but also culture as it relates to gender and religion, political groups. Any ways in which you can be similar or different than someone is a potential cultural difference. And to be able to say, you
Mhm.
know what, I just can't work with those people. These people are just too different. Whether you're a therapist, whether you're a teacher, saying, you know what, I have difficulty working with those students, or law
Mm.
enforcement officers, or politicians, or community leaders, and I just can't reach out to that population. How can we
Yes.
overcome that hump and bring in a relationship style, not a policy and procedure style, not a politically correct chasing style, but a relationship style to say, how can I strengthen personal and professional relationships? Well, that's
Mhm.
something I can speak to. And so I created the book, Diversity in Clinical Practice. The clinical practice isn't just for therapists, but from that perspective, it's a therapist point of view to help you say,
Mhm.
oh, how can I help somebody feel seen, culturally seen, understood, and valued, no matter our similarities and differences. And it's been great to hear the
Mhm.
responses across the country. People have been applying it. And recently
Yes.
it won a book award, an independent book
Oh,
publishers award, which really
congratulations.
validated. Thank you. It really validated the fact that although it's initially was intended for therapists, that
Yes.
it has a broader reach and said, no, it's so practical, no psychological jargon. It's so practical that anybody wanting to strengthen their relationships. I actually have even a restaurant group who said, hey, I want to bring this training, this book to my serving staffs so that they can make every
Wow.
customer feel seen and heard culturally. And so I've been amazed at the response it's been receiving. And I look forward to seeing how many people it can bless while we try to strengthen relationships everywhere.
Well, look, that is truly a blessing, truly a blessing. You're eliminating stigmas across the board,
Let's
restaurants,
go.
professionals, everyone. So thank you. I think the more we can talk about these issues, the more we can help eliminate stigmas with building
Exactly.
relationships, mental health, mental illness, things like that. So thank you so very much for writing the book and for your contribution to Wellness Wednesday. Where can we find the book?
You can find the details on my book and as well as my trainings on my website, diversitymadesimple.com. And the book itself is available on Amazon as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you again so much for being here today. I really appreciate you. This has been Wellness Wednesday, 3 questions. And again, if you would like to be a guest on the show, simply reach out. Our website is www.ptaylorconsulting.com, or you can give us a telephone call, and that number is 262-207-4130. Thank you so much, everyone. Be well and stay blessed.